We're excited to have you share in this press launch for the Financial Stability Partnership here in Washington, D.C. at the National Press Club. This kickoff event brings together many of our long-term partners to help us launch our third national initiative focused on the financial stability of individuals and families.
At this time, I'd like to bring forward Brian Gallagher. Brian is the President and CEO of United Way of America. He began this tenure in 2002, although he began his work with United Way of America in 1981 as a management trainee. Brian, upon becoming the president and CEO, immediately took on the challenge of leading a transformation of the organization from one of merely a fundraising organization and a distributor of resources to an organization focused on community impact, improving the lives by mobilizing the caring power of communities. Today, United Way identifies the root causes of many problems facing the citizens of our society, and then will garner the resources and pull together the kind of partners necessary to address those issues. Brian has led us in that transformation. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Rodney, thanks very much. It's an exciting day for us. This launch is the culmination of years of conversation and work with our partners across all sectors, business and government, academia, nonprofit, local and national, to come to a point where we've really come to understand that if we're going to be successful as communities, we're going to have to deal with the financial instability of too many working individuals and families. And to give that a little context in terms of how we got there, you know, we're a large organization, but we're a decentralized small organization as well. We work in local communities, but in aggregate, we're $4 billion in annual revenue. So we're the largest private funder of human services across the country. And what we've realized is that as we've gone through an economic shift in the U.S. from a national industrial economy to a global knowledge economy, even in good macroeconomic times, it doesn't necessarily mean any longer that all families, all individuals' boat will rise with that rising tide. You know, you heard in the video, and we know through so many media reports recently, that we have the largest income gap in the country since 1928. Savings rate in the U.S. is now negative. 1 out of 3 Americans uses his or her credit card for basic need, rent, utility, food. There'll be 4 million incoming high school freshmen this next fall in the U.S. 1 million or more won't graduate. I was at a meeting recently where Joel Klein, the Chancellor of the New York Public Schools, made the point that the graduation rate in New York City public schools is 43%. If you're a Latino student in LA schools, fewer than half of you will graduate. It takes $16 an hour to afford the average 2-bedroom apartment in America today. So while we can have minimum wage debates and we can have poverty rate debates, we really have come to the conclusion we ought to have a livability debate. We ought to have a financial stability and sustainability debate. And so the conclusion we've come to, and I should make the point right now that, I'll say it personally, but organizationally, it's not about, you know, folks shouldn't be able to accumulate wealth and get ahead and so forth, but any economy where you start seeing that kind of disparity isn't healthy for the economy, for civil society, for families, or for communities. So we've concluded that we're not going to social service our way in and of itself to better communities in the future, that we're going to have to address the financial stability or instability of families across America. We've seen a lot of media reports on this in the last year or more. We've also seen the fact that there is this insecurity in the country affirmed by the Aspen Institute, by Brookings, by others that have done lots of research on the topic. In fact, the Center for Social Development at Washington University in St. Louis found a direct cause and effect relationship between the ability to attain assets in a family and the well-being of that family. So, for instance, if you have assets as a family, your children are more likely to stay in school, more likely to do better in school, less likely to have family violence in the home if you've got assets. It intuitively makes sense, but the folks at WashU have made it clear through statistical analysis. So these findings, along with our own internal research, have led us, and our experience in local communities have led us to the point that we believe that maybe the most important thing we need to do over the next number of years is try to give individuals and families the tools to become financially stable. And after a year-long planning process with both local partners and national partners, and again, not United Way, the institution, but United Way, the organization that, when it works well, will talk to its partners, its corporate partners and its academic partners, nonprofit partners, and start to think through what is the right approach in terms of building financial stability and independence. And so we've come to a point of view, to a framework, if you will, that we'll see on the screen here. You know, a lot of times you'll hear folks say, you know, we ought to help folks build savings. Well, we start with the premise that you can't build savings unless you have more income. And so there is a sequence, we think, here, again, learning from our partners in conversation, that step one is help families earn more income or get more income, either through public benefits or jobs that pay more, so they can start building savings in order to start gaining assets.